It's 3 hours to closing time, and Jake is desperately waiting for his coworker / manager / good friend Eva to arrive. When is she going to come? Finally, she's here. Eva, can you cover the rest of my shift? I only have 2 hours left. Haha, yeah, right. And why would I do that? She said yes. What? She said yes? And now you're telling me? I'm so happy for you. Alright, you can go, but just for today, okay? Thanks so much. Eva, you wouldn't happen to have $50 on you, would you? I owe you. Jake has been dating Felicity since final semester of college. Now, both are graduates, and were living together for the past 3 months. Jake is working as a salesperson at BII Electronics, and Felicity is trying out for a job at a fashion design company. They were in love and content in life. It was yesterday Jake proposed to her at a baseball game. Jake? Felicity, will you marry me?
Say yes, say yes.
Yes. And today, Jake took leave from work early, got flowers and picked up her favorite food so he could surprise her. Slowly twisting the keys, Jake opened the door and stepped in. But when he opened their bedroom door, he froze, seeing the room empty. And on the table was a note with the ring. Sorry. Four years had gone by. Jake dedicated himself to work at BII Electronics, while he completed a graphic designing course. And for the past year, he has been working at Tech Designs as a web developer. Reaching the office, one of Jake's colleagues rushed his way. "Dude, where were you? The red boutique client is here. She showed us the project already. So sorry about that." Jake stepped into the conference room to see a woman setting up her presentation. But the minute she turned around, they both looked stunned to recognize each other. "Miss Felicity Jameson, this is Mr. Seamus Moore. He's our manager." Felicity stared at him in surprise. "Jake?" "Hello." As the conference went on, Jake was having difficulty believing Felicity was right in front of him. Seeing her after 4 years, she's changed so much. Her hair is longer, she's dressed so professionally, but still as beautiful as before. Felicity gave her presentation, and as the meeting came to an end, she gave out her card. "I hope to hear from you guys soon. You can reach me at this number." And then she simply left. "Did you guys know each other?" "We had a semester together in college." "Really? Then you must get this deal signed with her, so we don't miss out on this project. Send her our templates." Jake returned to his office, thinking about what just happened. What should I do? We met after so long and she didn't say anything. She just left. Did she ever have any feelings for me? Maybe I should stay professional too. Jake picked up the phone and dialed her number. Hello? Hello, this is Seamus Moore speaking from Tech Designs. Jake, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. I've emailed you our templates that we already have on stock. You can take a look at it, but if your company demands modifications, it will cost you more. Perhaps I'll understand better if you explain it to me in person. How about we meet up tomorrow and discuss it? Where would you like to meet? The same cafe by the lakeside? The next evening, Jake went to the BI cafe. He spotted Felicity. She's sitting at the same place where she used to wait for me. Letting out a deep breath, Jake went up to her. Felicity? Jake, finally you're here. Actually, I'm exactly on time. Sorry, I came a little early. Jake sat down and took out his laptop. It's been so many years. How is everything? I'm alright. I brought the template samples. I'll explain everything to you. Just as Jake was to open his laptop, Felicity closed it. Jake, can we leave that for now? You didn't even ask me once how I was doing. You haven't kept that door open anymore, have you? You blocked me out of your life. The look on Felicity's face suddenly changed. Look, Jake, if I didn't block you, I could have never moved on. I knew why you would call me. I knew what you were going to ask, but my answer would only hurt you. What? You wanted an explanation to why I left. Right. All these years passed and I'm still wondering why. Jake, we started dating in college. I had dreams. I wanted to become something in my life. I wanted to know my potentials. And only 3 months in, all of a sudden we were living together. Everything was going too fast for me. And then you proposed. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to hurt you, so I left. And you think that didn't hurt me? Yes, that must have hurt you. But I really didn't have the courage to face you. The waiter passed by their table. Are you ready to order? Felicity looked at Jake. Lamb chops for him, and I'll take a salad. You're not going to have that spicy chicken? It used to be your favorite. No, I don't have meat anymore. The waiter brought over the food in a while. Jake was mostly quiet as they ate, looking at Felicity, listening to her as she talked about her job, her life. She's changed so much. She's so mature now. When it had been a while, Jake asked her, should we go over the work? Jake, can we discuss this some other time? I'm tired. Let's take a walk by the lakeside. All right. As they walked down the same path, all those memories flashed before his eyes. Does she still have feelings for me? Is that why she called me here? Can we forget what happened and start over again? Stopping by the railing, Felicity smiled at Jake. This used to be your favorite place. Still is. All those memories, when we used to watch the sunset together. Yeah. Why are you so quiet? You're not even speaking. I really don't know what to say. I really thought you loved me, but then you left. And yesterday, we met after so many years and you didn't say anything. And now you're being like this? What did you expect me to say in the office in front of all of your colleagues? Why did you think I left my personal number? I was really hoping you would call. Felicity, did you ever love me? Did I ever love you? I loved you more than anything in my life. In all these years, I tried to move on, but I couldn't. The way I felt about you, I never felt about any other man. Felicity looked into his eyes. Jake, can we not forget the past and start everything from the beginning? Jake looked back at her. Even after all these years, it's like she can read my mind. There's nothing more I want in my life than her, but he said, I need some time. Felicity looked away. It's okay. I understand. Are you seeing someone? No, it's getting late. Let's meet here again tomorrow? Sure. Are you taking a cab? You're not going to drop me? It was a silent drive back to the hotel. Do you want to come up for some coffee? Sorry, I have to go. I have to meet someone. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. After Felicity had left him, Jake was heartbroken and depressed. He couldn't forget her for a single moment, and he didn't date anyone in all these years. All he wanted was to spend one more night with her, one more moment with her. And now, after so long, she was in front of him, and she wanted to spend time with him, but Jake didn't know how to feel about it all. Jake took out his phone and called his dad. Jake, Dad, can we meet? Yes, of course, son. What happened? Nothing happened. Everything's fine. All right, come over to the house. Jake's dad now lives upstate, about a 2-hour drive away. He lost his mother when he was 9 years old, and 2 years later, his father married Margaret. Jake could never accept her, and he was never able to forgive him. It was around 10 when he reached there. Knocking on the door. Margaret opened with a smile. Craig, Jake is here. Come on in, Jake. No, I'm fine. Hearing him, his dad stepped out. Jake, what happened? Here all of a sudden? Is everything all right? Yeah, Dad. Can we take a walk? The weather was peaceful. There was a soothing breeze in the air. Jake and his dad silently walked down the field. Dad, do you miss Mom? Every single day, she was my soulmate, my true love. If you truly loved her, how could you marry Margaret? Jake, after your mother's death, I was heartbroken. I became lonely, and I still am lonely, and no one can feel that emptiness. But when I met Margaret, she understood what I was going through, and she helped me and made the forbearance easy, and it brought balance to my life. I know you were never able to accept her. You thought she was replacing your mother, but the truth is, I wasn't trying to replace your mother with anyone. And Margaret herself never tried to replace your mother. As a father, I would never marry someone who would try to hurt you. All Margaret ever tried to do was bear the responsibilities of your mother. Your mother was my true love. She didn't part from me till her death, but Margaret is my true companion. She made my responsibilities her responsibilities, and she didn't leave me, even in my lowest times. Listening to his dad, Jake finally realized what he should have years ago. Thanks, Dad. I've gotta go. That night, Jake returned home, pondering about everything that happened. And the next evening, He went to the lakeside again. There he saw Felicity waiting, wearing that dress he used to like. She's so desperately waiting for me now. But where was she these 4 years? Enjoying her life, trying to move on with other men? And now she's waiting for me? Why? Because I'm marriage material? Responsible? She was never surprised to see me at the office. She probably came because she knew I worked there. She thought I was predictable. But today, I can read her. I was never her true love, and she was never my true companion. Or else, she would have never parted from me. Felicity was waiting at the cafe for nearly 2 hours, when suddenly, one of the waiters came to her. "Are you Felicity Jameson?" "Yes." "There is a message for you." "Sorry." Jake was on his way to meet a friend. With flowers in his hands, he walked into the store to spot that same smile. "Jake, after such a long time, look at you. You look so different." "But you still look just as beautiful as before." "Beautiful? Are these flowers for me? Jake, are you all right?" "Yep, I think I finally got to my senses. How about dinner tonight? Just me and you?" "Are you asking me on a date?" "Eva, all this time I was heartbroken, hurting for someone who didn't value my love, didn't care about hurting me. But here you were, helping me heal, making my emptiness bearable. You are my true companion, but I was the fool that couldn't see your true love." That night, Jake and Eva went on their first date. And that was the beginning of their journey together as companions. Six months later, on Christmas Eve, Jake took Eva to meet his family. "Dad, this is Eva. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Moore. I got gifts for everyone. Eva, this is Humpty, and this is Dumpty." "And what are you, a scarecrow?" "Stop it, Jake." All right. Ronan, Calum, this is for you." "And Mom, this is for you." "Mom, you got this gift for me?" "Craig, look what Jake got for me. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna wear this dress right now." A start to a new beginning. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. After a 2-hour trip upstate, Cecilia Morgan was returning home to the city. It was 10 p.m., and the last time she passed the gas station, she went on thinking she would make it to the next stop. But unfortunately, before reaching anywhere near there, she ran out of gas. Cecilia pounded on the steering. "Why, Cecilia? Why did you have to take the chance?" After sitting a while stuck in the middle of the lonely route, listening to the crickets chirp, Cecilia took out her phone. But lo and behold, she had no network. "No, not now." She got off and waved her phone in the air, trying to get a signal, looking to and fro, wishing a car would miraculously drive by to pick her up. But she was stranded out here. A while later, she suddenly heard a sound, and soon enough, her eyes caught sight of a man standing in the distance, looking at her. He had long hair, a beard. He wore old clothes and torn shoes. He was probably a homeless man. but worse, he was coming towards her. Cecilia hurried back inside her car, hoping the man would just pass by. But he came right in front of her window. "It seems like you're stuck over here. Your tires are fine. Is it the gas or the engine?" Cecilia looked out, hearing his muffled voice, and anxiously said, "The gas." The man nodded. "Lock your doors and don't come out. This neighborhood isn't that great." With that, he simply walked off again. Cecilia breathed out in relief. "Phew, you got in, but you didn't even lock your car, Cecilia." As the minutes ticked by, she started to get impatient. It had started to rain, and not a single car had passed by. Am I going to have to stay here all night? About an hour later, Cecilia finally saw someone on the road again. In the rain, it was the same man, and in his hands a container. Passing by her window, he stopped and said, "I brought some fuel for you." He then went back and filled her tank. Did this man just walk 30 minutes to the gas station and 30 minutes back to get her fuel? And Cecilia was sitting here thinking he was a homeless creep. Just as the man was walking off again, she quickly stepped out. "Excuse me, sir. Thank you so much. Please, let me pay for the gas." "It's all right. This should be good enough for you to reach the next gas station." Without saying any more, the man walked away, soaking in the rain. Cecilia found him awfully strange and different. When she drove to the gas station, she got down and went to speak to the clerk. "Had a homeless man come here about an hour ago to buy a fuel can?" "Homeless? No, he's not homeless. His name is Michael Thompson. He works at the nearby warehouse." "Oh, would you know where he lives?" "Out in these woods. He lives all by himself in an RV, usually parks it by the river." Cecilia only became more surprised when she heard about him. She safely returned home that night, but she couldn't forget the favor he had done for her. So the next day, she went shopping to buy a gift for him. What should I get him? Clothes, shoes, and a shaving kit. Around the afternoon, Cecilia set off upstate again, to the exact same place she had gotten stuck. She had last seen Michael walk left, so she parked her car and walked into the woods towards the river. About a 15-minute walk later, she spotted his RV, but when she knocked on the door, she realized he wasn't home, but the door was unlocked. Out of curiosity, Cecilia couldn't help but go inside. His RV, however, was near empty. A thin blanket and a pillow on the bed, a table, and a small pot on the stove. Boiled potatoes? How does he live here like this, eating boiled food? He literally has nothing. Cecilia neatly placed her gift on the bed and wrote a small note for him. "Thank you for the gas." That's when she noticed one of his desk drawers slightly open, and inside, a picture. Wow, this is him? He looks like a totally different person. There was another picture of a child and a woman whose face had been scratched out with a pen. Suddenly, hearing a noise outside, Cecilia quickly closed the drawer and hurried to get out the back door. He was probably here. But she wanted to see his reaction, so she hid behind the trees from where she could watch him. Michael walked inside, picked up the clothes and the shoes, read the note, and simply put the things back inside a bag and went out. Where is he going? Cecilia secretly followed after him as he walked almost 20 minutes until he met a homeless man and gave the clothes to him, and continued walking until he met another man and gave the shoes to him. Every interaction Cecilia had with this man surprised her even more. Who is this man? So Cecilia decided to research a little about him. Michael Thompson. After a little search, she found out he graduated from the BII University almost 10 years ago. So she went there and spoke to a few people from the staff. Michael Thompson, I remember him, class of 1995. I don't know where he is anymore, but his mother still lives in the city. Cecilia searched up Lisa Thompson, his mother. She must know about him. Hello, do I know you? Hi, I'm a friend of Michael. You're his friend, but he's been living all by himself in isolation for the past 7 years. Yes, I know. That's actually why I've come to speak with you. Come in. What happened to Michael? Why is he living this kind of life? His life story is quite a strange one. Michael was never like this. He was a happy, cheerful man. He was a good student, he was doing well for himself, and looking towards a bright future. But then... Hearing about his past, Cecilia was moved. She knew he didn't deserve this kind of life, and right then and there, she decided to take it upon herself to help him heal from this trauma and return to a normal, happy life. And step 1 would be to bring good food back into his life again. Who didn't like eating good food? The following day, Cecilia made a chicken casserole, some potato salad, and cornbread, and drove 2 hours upstate again. It was a good thing he wasn't home, so Cecilia could go inside and arrange it for him with another small note. Do you only advise people to lock their doors? Why don't you lock your own doors? What if someone comes in and steals all your things? She placed it on top of the containers and rushed out into the woods, waiting for him to return. This time, Michael picked up the food and went out the door again. He gave the food away. I should have known. So, the next day, Cecilia made more food for 4 people and brought it to him with a special note. You can share with your buddies, but please have it yourself too. And again, hearing his footsteps, Cecilia ran out behind the trees. She spotted him by the door, but then quickly lost sight of him. Cecilia anxiously watched when she suddenly heard a voice behind her. Waiting for someone? She turned around to see Michael. No, I was looking for a place to park my RV so I can live here all by myself. Please, don't do all this, and don't come here again. Why? Only you're entitled to live in an RV absolutely alone in the middle of nowhere, away from your friends and family? You were doing so well in your life. You were a bright student. You have such a good heart. Why would someone like you lead a miserable life like this? You won't understand. What won't I understand? I spoke to your mother. I know what happened with you. What your wife did. What happened with your son. But sometimes, tragic things happen in people's lives. I agree something bad happened with you. Someone wronged you. But you didn't wrong anyone. Why are you punishing yourself like this? It wasn't your fault. No, it was my fault. "7 years ago, Michael Thompson was in his prime. He had great potential to be something great in his life, and he was working towards his goals. But it was in that golden time of his life that he joined the army. He was deployed at one of the many military bases in a foreign country. Michael had gone there thinking he was serving his country, fighting for the good guys. But he soon realized it was them who were the bad guys, doing horrendous things to innocent people who had never harmed anyone, on their very own land. Michael was distressed with everything that was happening right before his eyes, but he kept himself in denial, rationalizing to himself that this was a lesser evil for a greater good, and the end of all this would justify the means. But soon, in the near future, he would learn evil is evil, and evil doesn't bring any good. Years later, when Michael returned home, he was overjoyed to be reunited with his family. His wife was desperately waiting for him, and his son was waiting for his father. This happiness, however, didn't last long when his son fell ill with a terminal illness. And in these tough times, Michael discovered his wife had been unfaithful to him in his absence with their neighbor. Michael was devastated knowing the truth. But months later, when his own son passed away in front of his eyes, he felt like the skies were shattering on him. What have I done? With the death of his son brought memories of times he spent on duty overseas. He had seen women crying with their lifeless child in her hands, and it was his fault. But he had rationalized it, thinking it was for a greater cause. He had seen modest women taken advantage of, and today his own wife turned out to be disloyal to him. After all that he witnessed, Michael could no longer keep himself in denial in this delusion. He had to do something. So he tried to create awareness of what was going on. But no news channel, no newspaper, no one in the media was prepared to report it. On the contrary, he found himself getting into legal trouble for speaking out the truth against the system. Michael was pressurized to remain silent, so he did the only thing he could do. He punished himself. He sold everything he owned and came out here to live a life alone. He would never eat good food, he would never wear good clothes, and he would never socialize with anyone. I'm not the person you think I am. I'm not a saint. I deserve this. Cecilia fell quiet listening to all Michael had to say, before she silently went her way. Michael returned to his cabin and tried to forget her. But when 3 days went by and Cecilia didn't try to visit him again, or leave him another gift, he started to miss her a little. But he told himself it was a good thing she wasn't around someone like him. After another day of work at the warehouse, Michael dropped by the BII-11. He was picking up some groceries when the news caught his attention. Breaking news. An anonymous hacker hacked into all 6 major news broadcasting networks across the nation and leaked sensitive government information regarding the invasion of foreign nations under false pretense, taking lives of innocent civilians, men, women, and children, ruining their economy, destroying their government, and sacrificing our nation's youth to do so. Politicians are now under immense pressure as the public demands answers for what their tax payments have been invested in for developing our country, our health system, for free education, to better the standard of our lives, or to end innocent lives in foreign nations. Michael returned home that day, shocked by what he saw. How did this happen? How did this happen? After seeing the news, Mr. Morgan, Cecilia's father, was enraged. Yeah, who did this? Cecilia said, totally confused. Cecilia wasn't just any young woman, but she was a competent journalist and the daughter of one of the 6 major broadcasting networks. She knew her father was already aware of these matters, and he would never make this public. So she took advantage of her position as his daughter and anonymously leaked information herself to all the mainstream channels in the media, so it could reach every civilian across the nation. And once it was all done, Cecilia dropped by her favorite restaurant, picked up some food, and headed on her way upstate again to surprise Michael. In the rain, she rushed into her car with her bags. But the minute she sat inside, she was startled by a voice. In the seat next to her was a man wearing a hat and holding a bouquet of flowers. How did you get in here? You didn't lock the door. What? Again? Get out of my car! I will, but I was told to deliver these to you. Looking at the flowers, Cecilia furrowed her brows. Wait, did a bearded man give you this? She stepped out of the car, scanning the streets. Where is he? She turned to ask the man again when he stepped out into the rain as well. When did you last see him? That's when he took off his hat and looked at her with a smile. Thank you. Michael? Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. This is Stephen Foster's, a young, ambitious man who had everything planned and figured for the rest of his life. From 25 to 30, he had planned to start a career in software programming, and he did. He became a freelance coder. Next, from 30 to 35, he would continue building his career until he would and could potentially become one of the richest people in California. Stephen's focus was directed only on his career. Money was his first priority. He didn't have time for anything or anybody else. Not for his family, not for his friends, and definitely not for women. Whatever it was absolutely no strings attached. He didn't have time to allow a relationship distract him from his goals. But recently, Stephen had signed a contract with one of the biggest tech companies in LA. So he and his fellow friends and colleagues hosted a success party to celebrate. I wish I could be as determined as you, dude, but it's like procrastination and I have a thing together. Oh come on, I've been watching Stephen work since we first met. Man, you gotta take it easy. Chill, take a break, a vacation. Yeah, you're missing out on life, man. Thank you, friends, for your support and no temptations at all. But there's still 10 years to go. By then I'll have loads of money, I'll retire, and then sit back and relax. Stephen picked up the glass, chuckling, wish me luck. But just as he was to take a sip, he suddenly felt lightheaded. Stephen? Are you okay? Stephen? Stephen woke up in the hospital. He turned to see Tony beside him. You're finally awake. How are you feeling? I'm fine, don't worry. Did you talk to the doctor? When can I go? I think they're gonna do some more tests on you. For what? I'm fine. You suddenly collapsed last night, Stephen. It was nothing. I haven't been sleeping, feeling a bit weak for a couple of weeks now with all the stress. Then I had a bit too much to drink last night. Just then, the doctor entered the room. Mr. Foster, how are you feeling? Great, doctor. When can I be discharged? Not quite so soon, Mr. Foster. We've performed some tests on you, and unfortunately, there is some bad news. You've been diagnosed with stomach cancer, and you're in the final stages. Stephen furrowed his brows as a confused laughter escaped his lips. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. This is the first time something like this has happened. I was fine. Oftentimes, there are no signs or symptoms in the early stages, but as the condition advances, the symptoms become more severe. How long do I have? There are a few treatment options, but this isn't a cure, Mr. Foster. It will only allow you to prolong your life to a certain extent, perhaps 2 or 3 years. However, patients also opt to continue on without treatment. In that case, we've estimated you have anywhere from 6 to 8 months. Stephen felt like his world was shattering right in front of his eyes. All this hard work, all the plans he had for the future were foiled. Tony patted his shoulder, trying to assure him. Don't worry about anything. We'll handle work. We've got your back. You should start the treatment as soon as possible. Stephen shook his head. No, if this is how it's going to end, I don't want to spend my last few years running from hospital to hospital, searching for a cure when there isn't any. I'd rather stay in peace for whatever time I have and leave in peace. So it's Barbados then? Yes, Barbados. When Stephen planned everything, he also planned when and where he would retire to. All these years he had been saving money in a fund with which he would buy his own place on the island of Barbados and enjoy the rest of his life. We rented a floor in a bungalow for you, and the location is convenient for you. There's a doctor nearby. Take care, okay? Thanks. I'll miss you guys. Stephen bid farewell to a handful of his closest friends and family and traveled to the small coastal town of Oyston on Barbados. There he moved into a small apartment on the first floor of a bungalow that belonged to an elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Menard. The location was everything he desired for a relaxing vacation. The beach shore was a walk away, there was a beautiful patio behind the bungalow, and the first 2 weeks went by in tasting the local food and sitting out in the sand. But soon enough, his symptoms started to show up. So Stephen began visiting Dr. Edwin. Stephen, how have you been? I've been experiencing the symptoms lately. I'll prescribe you some pain relief medication. Don't take more than 3 doses in 24 hours. Thank you, doctor. The days were going by. Stephen was enjoying the weather. Sometimes he communicated back home and even helped out the team with work when things became boring. Until one night, Stephen started to feel a pain in his abdomen. When the pain increased, he thought of taking some medicine, but then he realized he was all out. So he walked out to his veranda and sat in the fresh air. He tried taking a few breaths when suddenly he heard a sound from around the bungalow. He was a bit startled to see a young woman sneaking in over the fence. When she got down, they caught each other's gaze. May I ask who you are and why you climbed over my fence? Your fence? Oh, you must be the new tenant. This is my fence, and this is my house. I'm Cecilia. I'm the landlord's daughter. I'm Stephen, and all right then, why are you climbing over your fence instead of coming through the gate? What do you think? The night was young. I was out having a little fun. I'm not allowed to leave the house after 11, so I have to sneak out. You better not tell my dad. Why would I tell your dad? It's only 4 a.m., the perfect time to return home for a young girl like you. Who are you calling girl, you old man? I'm a grown woman. You don't want trouble with me. Stephen stared at the young woman climb up on the balcony and go inside. Old man? For some strange unknown reason, he was feeling a little better. In this hustle, he had forgotten about the pain, so he too went back inside and was finally able to get some sleep. But that night, and the whole next day, he kept on thinking about what Cecilia had said. Old man. He couldn't believe anyone could call him an old man. But what got to him more was that now he knew he was never going to reach his old age. The next night, however, around 11 p.m., he heard a sudden knock. Not on his door, but from his window. Curiously, he pulled the curtains to see Cecilia. Old man, I need your help. Now this isn't strange at all. Can you come with me? Where, and what do you even do so late at night? I like walking by the beach shore at night, but tonight I had to came back because I need your help, old man. Help? No thank you, I'm fine. It's actually not for me, it's for a dolphin. A dolphin? So Stephen followed Cecilia to the beach, where he spotted a dolphin stranded on the shore. He rolled up his sleeves and folded his pants as he got into the water and tried to push the animal back. Good job, old man, just a little more. It'll swim on its own once you take it into enough water. But Stephen was having a hard time moving this heavy animal, while Cecilia only stood there cheering him on. Are you just going to stand there, or are you going to come and help me instead of calling me an old man? No, you look like you're doing a good job by yourself. Stephen shook his head as he finally managed to push the animal into the water, but he also ended up getting wet and sandy himself. Well done for an old man like you. You saved a life today. The heavens are going to be happy with you. Cecilia chuckled as they walked back down the shore. But Stephen suddenly fell quiet. Yeah, I guess. Are you all right? Is everything okay? You know, not everyone is as fortunate like this, Dolphin. Sometimes, even if you want to, even when you try with your best, you can't rescue everyone. Haha, you talk as if you have some terminal illness and you're going to die soon. You're right, I do. Oh, so that's why you sulk all day. So tell me, when is it you're going to die? Stephen was a bit surprised by Cecilia's humor. I don't know, but probably soon. Cecilia nodded with a smile across her face. Did you hear me correctly? I said, I'm going to die. You're not taking me seriously, are you? Stephen, we're all going to die one day or the other. I'm standing here with you today, but I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Why should I feel sorry for you when tomorrow could be my last day or this very moment could be my last moment? You speak as if it's so easy to accept, as if it wouldn't bother you the least bit if someone suddenly told you you were to die. Honestly, it wouldn't, and it shouldn't bother you either. You're young. You literally have nothing. You haven't reached anywhere in your life yet. You don't have a family. When you die, you're not leaving anything behind. Whereas, just think about all those people who are established, who've done everything they could. They spent their entire life, perhaps 70 or 80 years, exhausting themselves day and night, working that dream job, buying a huge house, saving up so much money, doing all those great things. For what? To leave it behind when they die? Forget the ordinary folk, just think about big people, like the pharaohs of Egypt. What good is all that wealth and all that accomplishment doing them? What are they today? An artifact? We're all going to die, but all those people who are so overwhelmed with this life, they don't realize it. They live as if they're never going to die. But you, when you die, it's like you're having the last laugh. You've realized your time is coming and you can actually cherish these moments before you go. In a way, you're the winner, and they're nothing but losers. That night on the beach shore with Cecilia, Stephen came to realize she was right. It was time for him to be happy, to enjoy these last moments. The next morning, when he got up, he was feeling much better. He had planned to go out for breakfast, but it was pouring rain outside. So Stephen made himself a warm cup of coffee and decided to wait. However, the rain only got heavier as the day went on. But it was suddenly around midnight that Stephen heard a light tap on his window again. Do you have plans even for a night like this? He asked through the heavy rain and wind. What are you talking about? This is the best weather ever. This is going to be the best night of your life. Come on, old man. Stephen grabbed his jacket and hurried out after Cecilia. She took him across the beach shore far into the cliffside, where they climbed for almost half an hour before they reached the highest point. Cecilia walked to the edge as the thunder roared in the skies. Come over here, why are you standing there? Do you want to slip and fall or something? Who in the world would come here in this weather? All of a sudden, a huge bolt of lightning flashed bright only a distance ahead of them into the water. Stephen widened his eyes, looking at Cecilia, laughing. You are insane. Do you realize we can get struck by lightning up here? You're not the least bit scared? You're such an old man. What do you have to fear? If not for cancer, you would have died due to old age. Stop calling me an old man. I'm only 31, and I don't want to die like this. And are you mocking me having a terminal illness? Well, you do, don't you? Stephen stared at Cecilia, squinting in the rain. He chuckled as he brushed back his hair. Have some heart. Cecilia shook her head and sighed. You don't know how to risk it, but just have fun. See where things take you. Should have brought an umbrella for you. People like you take an umbrella to get wet in the rain. No, because that would be a very bad idea. An umbrella isn't going to save me. If anything, the metal will attract the lightning. Stephen and Cecilia sat there by the edge, enjoying the thunderstorm, the crashing waves, the cool breeze as they shivered and laughed till it was almost sunrise, when the rain finally slowed down and the waves became gentle. Shall we head home now? No, the night isn't over. There's still one more thing we have to do before sunrise, Cecilia said, standing up. What? Jump. Okay, if I stay with you, I'm definitely dying sooner than I'm supposed to. Just hold in your breath, point your toes, and keep your legs together before hitting the water, okay? Stephen looked down into the water. Should he do it? Well, it was now or never. Don't worry, I'm coming in after you. Stephen let out a deep breath. All right. But just as he leaped, Cecilia called out, "By the way, the water is really cold. Cecilia!" Stephen dived into the freezing waters and immediately swam up to call out Cecilia. But lo and behold, Cecilia was gone. You. Stephen walked home soaking in water. He stayed out in the backyard for some time, staring at Cecilia's window, but the curtains were drawn. He went in and dried up, waiting for when Cecilia would show up again. But the clock ticked by the whole night, and there wasn't a tap on his window. And the next 2 days went by the same. Stephen was up all night, thinking only about her. Where was she? Why wasn't she coming? Have I fallen in love with her? Of course. I finally found love and I'm going to die soon. How fortunate. But when 3 nights went by and Cecilia didn't show up, Stephen started to think Cecilia wasn't coming because she thought he was mad at her. Or was it because she fell sick from soaking in the rain that night? Becoming impatient, Stephen decided to go upstairs and check up on her himself. Hello, Stephen. Is everything all right? Yes, Mr. Menard. Is Cecilia here? I haven't seen her in a few days. I was wondering if she's okay. Mr. Menard furrowed his brows. You've seen Cecilia? Mrs. Menard suddenly came to the door, hearing her daughter's name. How can you see Cecilia? Stephen was confused, seeing the look on the couple's face. Had something happened? Come in. Mr. and Mrs. Menard took Stephen to Cecilia's room. But it was empty. Stephen stared at Cecilia's picture hung up on the wall. My daughter passed away 3 years ago in sickness. She had developed yellow fever and she never recovered. What? How? But I saw her. Stephen was shocked by what he discovered. He politely bid farewell to her parents and returned downstairs, trying to sort everything in his head. What had he just experienced these past few days? How can she be dead? But it was true. Cecilia had indeed passed away 3 years ago. Over the next few nights, Stephen couldn't think of anything but Cecilia and the moments he spent with her. The more Stephen remembered all the things she used to tell him. We're all going to die, but all those people who are so overwhelmed with this life, they don't realize it. They live as if they're never going to die. In a way, you're the winner, and they're nothing but losers. But you, when you die, it's like you're having the last laugh. You've realized your time is coming and you can actually cherish these moments before you go. The more he realized, she would have wanted him to live his life before he departed. That's what she had been doing all this time. So from that day, Stephen started to lead a different kind of life, enjoying himself, making every moment worthwhile, even through the pain. And it was 2 months later, on a quiet night, that Stephen passed away in peace. Finally, what took you so long? I just got a little overwhelmed. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. I had a great time tonight, Dan. Well, the night still isn't over. Let me walk you home. After an average first date, today, Daniel just pulled off the best second date of all second dates in the history of dates. Today went so well that it might have even done the trick for what came after the third date. Daniel had his fingers crossed. Maybe tonight he would get lucky. He and Anna had stopped for a breeze by the LA River before they headed on their 20-minute walk back to her place. But Daniel was surprised as Anna led the way into a rather questionable neighborhood. He was a news reporter at BII Times and was constantly reading news from this area. You live in this neighborhood? Yeah, I know, it's not that great of a place, but my office is close by and the awesome restaurants we just came from. How did you finish that huge steak? It's my usual. I need my daily 100 grams of protein to maintain this 200 pounds of muscle. Well, speaking of weight, do you always carry your laptop with you? This is nothing. It's only 7 pounds. You should see the one I left at work. It was about 10 p.m. and the streets were dark and empty. Daniel suddenly noticed a man up ahead. His face was covered and a cap over his head. Is everything okay? Daniel chuckled. He didn't want to look like a coward, but he was a little worried now. Yeah, how far is your place again? Just a turn away. They kept walking as Daniel tried to keep an eye on the suspicious guy, but it seemed that he had gone off. Phew. Until the couple turned the curb and whoops, there he was holding a knife at them. The man was wearing a baggy hoodie and sweats, but it seemed that he was rather lanky. Give me all your money, he said with a muffled voice. In a panic, Daniel began taking off his bag. Here, man, take it. My wallet, my laptop, her purse. What are you doing, Dan? He's like the skinniest, shortest man I've ever seen. You can handle him. Hey, shut that mouth before I make it shut. Daniel took off his watch, flinching back as the man motioned the knife at him. Anna, let's not argue. He has a knife. A 1.5-inch knife? Who are you gonna mug with that? Damn, this guy is a joke. You want me to cut you? I'll cut you, he yelled, snatching everything away. Anna, we're better safe than sorry. Safe from what? He's half your size. As the man loaded everything into his pocket, Dan suddenly remembered what was in his bag. Look, man, take the money, the laptop, but there are some papers in my bag. Just get that back to me, please. What? He's taking my jewelry and you're worried about your papers? It's my assignment. This is why you don't date a reporter. What's next? You're gonna give me up for it? It's not like that. Really? Then get my necklace back right now, Anna said, folding her arms. But the man was long gone. It's over. Anna, listen. What? What is it now? Are you feeling scared to go home from here? Can you please drop me off? Let's just say that ended his chances with her. But worse, his assignment that was supposed to be submitted to his boss tomorrow was gone for good. Boss, just give me one more day. I'll get it to you. The deadline was today, Johnson. We have to put that article out today. It took me weeks to write that. How can I do it in one day? Not my problem. You get it in by the end of today or you're fired. What would he do? Daniel hopelessly dragged himself across the floor to his cubicle when one of his coworkers dropped by. I think there's someone searching for you at the reception. Who? Some girl. A girl? Daniel went to the reception to see a young woman standing with a familiar-looking bag in her hands. Hi, are you Daniel Johnson? Yes. I'm Lena. I live near Lehman Park. I found this on the road last night and I thought someone lost it. So I opened it up to look for an ID. There wasn't anything inside, but I found these papers. I thought maybe it was important. No problem. This is all I need. Thank you so much. You don't know how big of a favor you did to me. You're welcome. You have to let me make it up to you. Let me take you out to lunch. Lena stood there in a bit of indecision. This guy was being awfully grateful, but little did he know the man that mugged him last night was none other than Lena herself. When she got home and found this, it seemed like a lot of work and he had requested for it. So she came back to return it to him. Daniel insisted again, seeing Lena's hesitation. Please? And Lena didn't want to be rude, seeing Daniel's insistence. Okay. So what were those papers about? I haven't seen anyone so happy to get an empty bag before. Don't ask. You literally saved my career today. It was an article I've been working on. I'm a reporter at BII Times. Last night, I got mugged by this big dude. He had a gun. It was all because of that gun. I'm telling you, even though he was bigger than me, even if it was just a knife, I would have taught him a lesson. But he had a gun. A gun! Big dude with a gun? Reporter, so you're like Lois Lane. Lois Lane? No, if anything, I'm like Superman. I even look like him. No, you're more like Lois Lane. Isn't Superman 6'4"? You're like 2 inches shorter. No, I'm 6'3", and for your information, Superman was 6'3" in the comic books. After an unexpected fun afternoon, Daniel and Lena exchanged numbers, and it wasn't before long that they decided to meet up again. But Lena knew her secret, and she knew there had to be boundaries. So what do? Me? I work at BII Plus. I'm an insurance agent. I save people's lives, and sometimes careers. No wonder. They started seeing each other as friends, but over the days, Lena felt like she was falling for him, and Daniel for her. And before they knew it, they were dating. Mister, there's been an issue with your card. It's declining the payment. Declining the payment? Daniel took out his wallet and froze. Shoot, this is embarrassing. I'm short on cash. Don't worry about it, I'll pay the bill. But just excuse me for a minute, I'll be back from the restroom. Lena smiled as she walked into the ladies' room, scanning the women for the richest one there. Designer shoes, designer bag, perfect. She would be the jackpot. Here you go. Wow, that's a big tip. Their relationship progressed rather fast, and in a few months, Daniel asked her to move in with him. Alright, but on one condition. What's that? I'll pay for all my expenses, but I'm going to save the rest of the money I make, and you can't spend my savings, and you can't ask what I do with it. Now that's the strangest condition I've heard a gold digger say. So if you're going to pay for your expenses, are you planning on paying half of the rent too? Sure, and call me a gold digger or a cheapskate, but the condition is a condition. Is it a deal? Deal. And life became all the more complete when they started living together. Hey, I used to have a laptop exactly like this one. Really? Yeah, by the way, the rent is due today. It's in my bag. Daniel opened Lena's purse, pulling out a huge wad of bills. Sweetheart, singles? Lena awkwardly looked at Daniel. The ATM was out of bigger notes. Or more like when Lena had gone out for work, that she had cornered a rich dude in Fashion District. Your money or your life. Take it, man, take it. It was a pretty easy catch, but then Lena realized this guy's wallet was full of singles. Singles that he cashed out to use to throw around at those kind of clubs. On the other hand, Daniel was enjoying the perks of living with a woman. Good food and a clean apartment, but there was also some strange things about Lena. Like the fact that she had a number of scars over her body. She even had one on her face that she kept covered with her hair. How did this happen? Oh, it was just a bike accident. Lena was also a bit secretive about certain things in her life, especially her money. Daniel had noticed she sent a money order of her savings to someone every month. Hey, you weren't supposed to invade in my privacy. Don't worry, I wasn't looking. Daniel assumed it was most likely to her family members, but since Lena wasn't comfortable speaking about it, Daniel didn't ask her. And before long, 2 years went by, and they were now considering getting married. I didn't want to go to my parents' place, but my mother's been asking to meet you. Then we should go. But I haven't been there in years. Why not? I don't really get along with my dad. We never agree on anything. Mom, I finally got that job at BII Times. I'm moving to the city. That's great news, Dad. Great news? A job as a reporter? Where is writing stories ever going to take you in life? This is what I want to do, Dad. Well, guess what, son? You're only wasting your life. Don't follow your heart. Use your brain. You could have done so much better in your life, but you choose to be a reporter? He never supported my ambitions. Everything and everybody is too small for him. He doesn't get it's my life, not his. Well, he's still your father. He only cares about you. You don't know how fortunate you are to have a family. I belong to a broken family. I don't have anyone to go to. But you do. You shouldn't break ties with your family over a disagreement. So Lena and Daniel traveled to Daniel's parents' home the following Friday afternoon. Lena was surprised by the luxurious house they lived in. Wow, you didn't tell me your parents are super rich. Well, all that glitters isn't gold. There's my mom, let's go. I've been waiting for you too, especially you, Lena. Daniel told me a lot about you. She's wonderful, Daniel. Come on, your father's inside. Lena was warmly welcomed by his mother. But the moment she saw his father, she fell quiet. He sat there, legs folded, staring directly at her. He didn't even greet her. Dad, this is Lena, my fiancée. Fiancée? You didn't tell us you decided to get engaged. Maybe I shouldn't have come to tell you we're getting married too. Daniel's mother quickly interrupted. Daniel, why don't you show Lena around? Lena nervously followed after Daniel. She didn't talk much the whole evening. It was apparent by his father's hostile glare that he didn't like her. Seeing Lena uncomfortable, Daniel made up an excuse to bail early. But even after they returned home, Lena was awfully quiet. Lena, I told you my dad's like that. He's not going to be happy about us. He's never been happy about anything of mine my entire life. It's not that, Daniel. I'm just a bit tired, that's it. The couple went to bed that night and both fell sound asleep. The next morning, Daniel bid Lena goodbye before he went off to work. But when he returned to an empty apartment. Daniel called her number, but her phone was turned off. He then called her workplace. May I speak with Lena Hansen? Yes, just 1 minute. Hello, it's Lena. Lena? Yes, this is Lena Hansen. Who is this? Daniel was confused as someone else picked up the phone. Apparently, there was no other Lena Hansen at the office. At this point, he was worried. What would he do? He didn't even know any of Lena's friends. And on the second day, Daniel decided to report the police. Can you give us a picture and her full name, please? But Daniel didn't have any picture of Lena. She never liked taking any because of her scar. I don't have a picture, but her name was Lena Hansen. Is this the woman you were speaking of? The officer pulled up a profile of another woman under the name Lena Hansen, but this wasn't Daniel's Lena. No, this isn't her. Well, this is the only individual under this name. Are you sure you have the right name? How can that be? I've been living with her for almost 2 years now. That is her name. Daniel anxiously returned home. Lena must have had some papers, documents with her name on it. He searched every closet, cabinet, bags, and drawers until he got to Lena's desk. There was a specific drawer she always kept locked. This was where she kept her money. But to his surprise, it was unlocked. However, inside, was nothing but a letter to him. Daniel, if you found this letter, I just want to let you know I didn't want to leave, but I had no choice. Sometimes things happen to people that change their lives forever, but I wasn't responsible for what happened with my life. I used to be a good person. I belonged to a good family. But everything changed when I got kidnapped when I was 17 years old. I can't tell you what I went through, but to say the least, it was not just me, but many more women. I was trapped in that dark business for 7 months before I managed to escape. But by that point, I was too embarrassed to return to my family. That's when I moved here and started leading this life, stealing from others, stealing their identities and staying on the run. But when I met you, I felt like all the darkness in my life suddenly went away. I thought I would have a new beginning with you, until I saw your father. And as his son, there are some things about him you should know. You should know who your father really is. He isn't any ordinary man. He's one of the men involved in this racket. And that day we went to his house, he recognized me. He knew who I was. Nicole Jameson, you ran away from me, and now you're after my son, and you think I'll let you go? You thought I would let my son marry you after you've been around so many men? You thought I would let my grandchildren be born of a filthy woman like you? I'm sorry, Daniel, but we can't be together, or your father won't spare me. This is goodbye. When Daniel read the letter, he felt enraged. He felt ashamed to be his father's son. He had to do something. The BIIPD has arrested Paul Johnson along with many other men involved in operating an illegal business. Many women have been rescued from captivity, and the men responsible are looking at lifetime behind bars. Hey, you weren't supposed to invade in my privacy. Don't worry, I wasn't looking. Daniel had seen the name on the money orders, the only way he could find her now. It took weeks, but Daniel finally spotted her. She colored her hair, she wore glasses, but Daniel knew this bartender was none other than his Lena. But seeing him, Lena broke out into a cold sweat. What are you doing here? Hello, I'm Daniel. Do I know you? Lena smiled. I saw what you did to your father. He deserved far worse. Lena sighed as she made Daniel a drink. Wait a minute, now I remember you. Weren't you the one that mugged me that night? No, you were mugged by a big dude with a gun that night. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. It was a gloomy, rainy afternoon on the island of St. Lucia. Dr. Evelyn Quinn was at the dock. She was returning back to America after being recruited here by the BII Peace Corporation. I need a ticket to America. There will be a ship headed to America stopping in transit here in a few hours. There's been some delay due to the weather. All right. Taking her ticket, Dr. Quinn walked out to the waiting area in the patio. 5:15 p.m. Her watch read. She sat down admiring the beautiful island. She would miss being here. As a cool breeze hit her face, Dr. Quinn closed her eyes. But as she waited, she didn't realize when she dozed off. A while later, Dr. Quinn woke up startled. The skies had gotten dark. She anxiously looked at her watch. Rather surprised to see the time was still 5:15 p.m. What? Still 5:15? All of a sudden, she heard the voice of a man. "Miss, are you boarding the BI White Line?" "Yes, I am. It's setting sail. We should hurry. I'm boarding the same ship. It's this way." Dr. Quinn quickly picked up her bag and followed after the man in the rain. They boarded the ship half out of breath as they handed their tickets to the steward. "Welcome aboard the BI White Line." "Thank you so much. If not for you, I would have missed my ride. I'm Dr. Evelyn Quinn." Javier Lane. Walking down the deck, Dr. Quinn looked at her watch again. Still 5:15? That's why. It's not working. "May I take a look?" Dr. Quinn curiously gave her watch to Javier and watched him repair it in just minutes. It's 9 p.m. "Amazing. How did you do that?" "I craft watches." "Impressive. It's been a delight meeting you. So, where are you headed?" "To America, with my family. I had stopped here to get some supplies." "Family? Where are they?" Javier looked around nervously. "Please, don't tell anyone, or there might be trouble." "Trouble? Come with me." Javier took Dr. Quinn to the lower level of the ship. She walked past the crowded aisles, seeing all sorts of people, before Javier stopped at one of the cabins. "This is my wife, Paloma, and my child." Dr. Quinn saw a pale and weak young woman holding a newborn child in her arms. "She's just given birth." "What? No, you shouldn't have brought her on board like this. Especially the child, she's unwell, she needs care." "We didn't have a choice." Javier is from a small town on the island of Barbados, belonging to a humble background. It was after much struggle he completed an apprenticeship in watchmaking, and about a year ago got hired by one of the richest businessmen in town, Cassius Martin, who owned a designer watch company. Javier was glad to have gotten this opportunity and gave his all towards the job. And soon became one of Mr. Martin's prized employees. Javier worked long hours handcrafting and repairing each and every timepiece at the workshop, which was conjoined with the Martin residence. That tune, it's so beautiful. Every night in the Martin residence, Javier was captivated by beautiful music of a violin that played in the chamber above, the chamber that belonged to Paloma, the daughter of Castiel Martin. Javier waited every night just to listen to her play and sing her songs. There was something about Paloma he couldn't resist, and he began to fall in love with her. But he knew this love of his would never be anything more. A man like him would never be with a woman of her status. But it was one afternoon, while Javier and Mr. Martin were in the workshop, he noticed Paloma enter. "Father, will you take me to the luthier today? My violin string broke." "Not today, sweetheart." "Father, please, I haven't been able to practice these last days." "Paloma, I'll take you when I make time. You know how busy I am." "You never have time." Quite upset, Paloma left her violin on the table and ran off, and Mr. Martin simply got back to inspecting the timepieces. "You're doing a wonderful job, Javier. Keep it up." As Mr. Martin left, Javier looked at Paloma's violin running his hands along it. 2 of the strings were broken, but perhaps he could manage something. Father, you got my violin repaired. Sorry, sweetheart, I couldn't make time. But it's repaired. It wasn't you? Oh, must have been one of the servants. Surprised, Paloma went around asking all the servants, but no one owned up to the task. Now it wasn't magic. Who repaired it? We don't know, madam. It wasn't us. Strange. She broke it again? The next day, Javier was surprised to find Paloma's violin torn again. With his utmost care, he repaired it, wrapped it up, and was about to head out of the workshop to return it to its owner, when he froze, seeing Paloma at the door. So it was you. Sorry, madam. I was just repairing it. What's your name? Javier. Paloma smiled as she took the violin and closed the doors of the workshop. Now that you repaired it, won't you listen to me play? Sit. That night, Javier was mesmerized getting to listen to Paloma play right before his eyes. They spoke for hours getting to know each other. Paloma enjoyed Javier's company, and she began to visit him at the workshop every night when she played her violin for him. And before either of them knew it, they fell in love. Paloma, this isn't right. Your father will never accept this relationship. Javier, we love each other. This is about you and me, not anyone else. You don't understand. He trusts me. How can I break his trust? He'll never know. Paloma and Javier kept their relationship a secret. But as the months went by like this, it was one day Paloma discovered she was pregnant. We can't hide this anymore, Paloma. I have to tell him. No, he won't spare either of us. Then what do you expect me to do? Let's run away, Javier. Far from here. Paloma managed to hide her pregnancy for a few months, in which Javier tried to save up as much money as he could, though it didn't amount to much. Without much choice, they left the house and ran away to the outskirts of town. Javier managed to arrange a small cabin, the couple got married and started living together. However, back in town, Castiel Martin was furious discovering what his daughter had done. She disgraced the family. This is inexcusable. What do you want us to do, boss? Spread rumors he kidnapped Paloma. Bring them back, be it alive or dead. Having to keep underground, Javier was unable to get a job and ended up laboring. The couple was struggling to get by, but together they were happy and content with whatever they had. Javier, supper is ready. So sorry I spilled the water. It's alright, I'll get some more. You're done already? Yeah, it was delicious. Hurry, your food is getting cold. And this was how 6 months passed by. Until 2 nights ago, Paloma suddenly awoke to tremendous pain in her stomach. Javier, it's time. Try to stay calm. I'll bring someone from town. It was late, but Javier traveled to town and somehow managed to bring a woman to assist Paloma with her delivery. It's a boy. That dawn, getting to see their child take his first breath of life, the couple couldn't be more happy. Javier was grateful to the woman, but despite wanting to pay her, he had nothing with him. So Paloma took out a golden locket of hers and placed it in the woman's hand. Please, accept this as a gift from us. No, I couldn't. Hesitantly, the woman took the locket, but it was when she looked at it. Her face darkened. Martin? You're the daughter of Castiel Martin. Your father, he's searching for... The woman got up in shock as she began to back away. Please, don't tell anyone. But without listening to them, the woman ran out of the cabin towards town. Javier, we can't stay here anymore. We have to go. Realizing their lives were in danger, Javier and Paloma had no choice but to take their newborn child and flee. The ship is on its way to America. Please arrange 2 tickets for me. As night fell on Barbados, Javier and Paloma boarded a ship with their child, leaving their home forever, hoping to finally start a new and peaceful life. After hearing their story, Dr. Quinn was shocked. She quickly sat beside Paloma and checked her temperature. You're burning up. It's just a little fever. I'm fine. Dr. Quinn took some medicine out of her bag and handed her. You both look like you can use some rest. Don't worry about the baby. I'll look after him. With that, she took the child in her arms and finally let Javier and Paloma get some moments of relief. Later that night, Dr. Quinn went out to the deck to catch some air. It had been a hectic evening. She wondered about Javier and Paloma. Their love had brought them this far, in sickness and in health. As Dr. Quinn looked out into the vast ocean ahead, glimmering in the moonlight, she noticed a smaller vessel reach to a stop beside stairs. Some men were boarding onto the ship. All of a sudden, havoc arose on the deck as people began running inside. Get in your cabins, lock the doors. What is going on? Pirates, the ship is being raided. Dr. Quinn anxiously headed down to inform Javier and Paloma. But when she got there, she saw Javier ushering Paloma out into the crowd. Dr. Quinn, it's the Martins' men. They found out about us. If anything happens to me, please help Paloma. Where did she go? She's... In the midst of the panic, Dr. Quinn heard a shrill scream as the men barged down the aisles. There he is. She stared in shock as the men approached Javier. Where is she? She's not here. "You bloody liar." As he took hold of Javier, Dr. Quinn attempted to stop them. "Please, don't do this. He hasn't done anything wrong." But pushing her aside, the men dragged Javier. Dr. Quinn got up, going after them, but before she could do anything, she heard the gunshot fire. As Javier fell. Doctor, wake up. Your ship has arrived." Dr. Quinn woke up startled to see the clerk calling her. She looked around to see she was still at the office. It was night. She looked at her watch. It's 9 p.m. The BII White Line has arrived. The trip was delayed. There was a pirate raid on the way from the last transit. BII White Line? Pirates? Dr. Quinn widened her eyes as she ran out to the dock, looking at the ship. Javier. Yes, one of the men lost his life in the raid. His name was Javier Lane, but how did you know? His family, his wife and child need help. As the crowds of people left the ship, Dr. Quinn rushed in, searching from cabin to cabin. Until she finally reached the storage room to the far corner. Noticing a young woman tightly grabbing hold of a child crouched to the corner. After Martin's men had taken Javier's life, they searched the ship for Paloma. But unable to find her, they eventually gave up their search and left. Paloma! Paloma! Dr. Quinn shook Paloma, but suddenly, her arms let loose as the child lay on her lap. She was no more. Dr. Quinn fell back as tears filled her eyes. She had never felt this helpless before. She could do nothing. Nothing. The child is alive. The child is alive. Dr. Quinn doesn't know what she experienced that evening. If it was a vision, or if it was the desperate spirit of the father who couldn't leave his son and wife helpless. Or if it was the love of the mother which could not leave her baby alone. Dr. Quinn raised the son of Javier and Paloma as her own. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Dad, let me go. Let me go. You can't do this to me. Of course I can do this to you, and you aren't going anywhere. You can't do this to me, Dad. You can't. Bob, have you lost your mind? How many days will you keep her locked up like that? Yes, I have lost my mind. And I'm going to keep her locked up as long as she lives. Mom, open the door! Mom, let me out! Christine, your dad is very angry. You know I can't do anything against him, and I think he's right. What? How could you think he's right? Mom, open the door, Mom! Three days went by, in which Christine was locked up in her bedroom. Her parents wouldn't listen to her, and the only time they opened the door was when her mom brought in her food and locked her up again. Christine was heartbroken and devastated. She didn't know what to do. The third night, as she hopelessly lay in bed, unable to fall asleep, she heard a knock on her window. She ran to open the window, finally getting to see him again. Cassius. Christine, what happened? I've been waiting for you for the last 3 days. Cassius, my dad found out, and he locked me in my room. There's no way I can get out. Well, what were you expecting? Look at me. You know he's never going to accept our relationship. What are we going to do? I saved up some money. Let's go to Somerset. I have a relative who lives there, and I have to go there to launch my career anyway. But until things set off, I can get a job and we'll manage. At least we'll be together. Okay. The next morning, when Laura unlocked Christine's room, she immediately felt concerned when she found it empty and the window broken. Looking around, she spotted a note on Christine's desk. Bob, come here. What happened? Christine, she's gone. Robert took the note from his wife's hand. You said you would keep me locked up as long as I live. Think of me not living anymore. Reading his daughter's last words to them, Robert threw the paper away. She's made her choice. That night, Christine was with Cassius. And early the next morning, they booked 2 tickets to Somerset and reached there sometime near the evening. Finding a phone booth, Cassius tried to contact his relative. He's not picking up. Should we book a hotel? If we book into a hotel, we'll be out of cash before we know it. Then what are we going to do now? Don't worry, I know someone. Mr. Fraser. He was a trainer at the boxing gym Cassius went to and handled all the fighters, newcomers, and professionals. With luck, Cassius called the gym and was able to speak to him. Hello, Mr. Fraser. This is Cassius. Cassius, my boy, how are you doing? Mr. Fraser, I'm in the city and I need a place to lodge. Don't worry, my boy, I got you. Mr. Fraser was able to arrange a small apartment for Cassius. But upon setting foot into their new home, Cassius was rather disappointed. This is where we're going to live? Seeing him so upset, Christine put down their bags and pulled open the curtains to let in the breeze. Don't worry, Cassius. As soon as you get a job, we can find a better place. And once you become the champion, we can buy our own house. It was a struggle living in that apartment. But together, the couple made it feel like home. Soon, Cassius got a job at a delivery warehouse, while at the same time joining the boxing gym to train for the BII Summer Olympics that was coming up. But things were in no way easy. Cassius barely made enough to pay for the rent. And after that, the couple didn't have anything to even put food on the table. And things came to the point where Cassius had to loan money. "Mr. Fraser, can I borrow some money?" "How much do you need, boy?" "A few hundred. I'll pay you back as soon as I can." "Don't worry about it. Take it easy." "Mr. Fraser, will it be possible to arrange a second job for me?" "My boy, you're already working 14 hours and then you're training. You don't want to do this forever, do you? You want your big break. How about Christine? I know a perfect place for her. It's a late-night restaurant. She'll make good tips. It's good income." That night, Mr. Fraser took Cassius to the restaurant. "Mr. Fraser, this place is like a nightclub." "My boy, these restaurants are all like this, but it's good money. Think about it." Cassius didn't want Christine working at that place, but the couple were in desperate need of money. So Christine got a job at a local flower shop, but she was making next to nothing. "Cassius, I'm literally making pennies working here. But if I work at that restaurant, I might get better pay and we won't have to worry anymore." "I don't know. It's not going to be forever, Cassius, but right now we really need to make it." So Christine went to Mr. Fraser herself and joined work at the restaurant. The place was horrible. Every night, drunken men hoarded the bar and often misbehaved with all the girls. But at the end of the day, the money rounded up and Christine tried to cope with her new job. Every night around 2 a.m., Cassius came to pick her up. "Why are you going with him, baby? Come home with me." "What did you say to her?" "Cassius, leave it. He's not in his senses." "Christine, maybe you should quit." "Cassius, leave it. He's not in his senses." Christine was trying to support Cassius every way she could. And Cassius, he was working hard, training for hours a day after work, trying to stay disciplined. And over the next few months, he won a few tournaments. He had started to build a name for himself, and before long, it came time for the BII Summer Olympics. This match would determine his chance on the big league. But as the time neared, Cassius became quite nervous. He couldn't find the confidence he had before. As long as he was in Monticello, he was well-trained, living a disciplined life, eating properly, getting sleep. And here in Somerset, he was working 14 hours, barely had time to train, let alone sleep. And food, he was on the worst diet. Standing in the ring, Cassius looked around at all the people. He met eyes with Christine, who cheered for him. But Cassius was afraid.
And the champion is George Freeman.
And that day, what Cassius feared came true. He lost the most important match of his life. Returning home that night, Cassius was quiet. He was shattered by his defeat. "It's all right, Cassius. A few more matches and you'll get this chance again." "You think those few matches were easy for me? You know what I had to go through?" "Cassius, I know you worked really hard, but I know you can do it. Everything will pay off." Christine tried to console Cassius, but what she didn't understand was that Cassius had not only lost the match, but had lost his confidence. This had been a lifelong dream of his that failed. All the hard work he put into it had become worthless, and Cassius was hurt. He was scared that his career would never get anywhere. The loss had traumatized him so much, he soon became depressed and aggressive. He couldn't put his mind to anything, and soon it led to an argument with his boss, and he got fired from his job. And things only became worse from there when he started to drink. Cassius stopped training, going to the gym, and deep down inside, he started to blame Christine for everything. She was the reason his life had come to where it was. On the other hand, Christine had been working overtime, trying to manage the rent and the bills. But soon, Cassius's negativity started to show up. Christine, I need some money. Cassius, if you continue to break into the savings like this, we won't be able to pay the rent. Then what have you done to yourself? You stopped training, you aren't working, and these days you're not even in your senses. And who's responsible for all this? My life wasn't like this before. Are you blaming me for this? I don't want to talk about it. Just give me the money. No. When Christine refused, Cassius tried to take it from her. Christine, give it to me. No, Cassius, stop! And in the heat of the moment, Cassius hit Christine. You hit me? After everything? Tears filled Christine's eyes as she stared at Cassius, but he wouldn't look at her. Get out of my apartment. You don't pay the rent. I do. Leave. That night, Cassius left, and Christine shut him out of her life. Neither did she contact him, nor did he try to contact her, and this was how life was going. Robert, Christmas is coming up. It's been 6 months. We haven't heard from her. We don't know where she is. Are we going to forget our daughter? She wanted to leave, and she left. Robert, stop it. She's our child. Go and find her. I heard Cassius is boxing in Somerset. It was on the recent telecast. Maybe they're living there. After some thought, Robert agreed and traveled to Somerset and found the boxing gym where Cassius trained. Cassius, Christine's father, is here. She went back to her father? Cassius was quite surprised when he saw Robert had come to meet him. Cassius, can we talk? There's nothing for us to talk about. I just want to know how you guys are. Where's Christine? Me? I'm doing well. And Christine? I don't know, and I don't care. What do you mean? Cassius was silent, but all of a sudden, one of his friends spoke up. She got hit one time and she kicked him out. Hearing him, Robert stared at Cassius. You hit Christine? After she left her family, her education, for you? After she came here to this unknown city trusting you? You brought her here and you hit her and you left her alone? As Cassius stayed silent, Robert couldn't take it anymore. And he slapped Cassius. At once, the entire gang surrounded him. But Cassius stopped them. No, he's right. Christine is staying at the apartment, and she's working at a restaurant. Here's the address. That night, Robert found the restaurant Cassius had told him about. He felt so shattered to see his daughter like this. Come on, baby, another round, and here's your tip. After making another drink, Christine turned to serve her next customer. When she froze, recognizing her father, tears dropped from her eyes as she looked at him. I'm sorry, Dad. I should have listened to you. No, my child. I'm sorry. It was my fault. I never took the time to understand or even take into consideration your emotions, your feelings. I was just an angry, stubborn dad dictating over my daughter, without trying to make you feel what I felt for you, why I was concerned for you. I thought you would think I'm weak. I wanted to appear strong, but it was wrong of me. I'm sorry, child. I should have been more understanding and open about my fears and feelings. Let's go home, sweetheart. After many months, Robert finally brought back his daughter. Don't miss out on the BII Summer Olympic Championship 1982. A match against Jimmy Query and Cassius Flame. One afternoon, Laura was watching TV when she saw the National BII Olympics telecast. Christine, isn't that Cassius? Cassius? Come on, the match will start. I don't care. After Robert came to meet Cassius, he returned to the apartment later that night. But Christine was gone. Cassius stood there all alone, devastated to realize what he had lost, where his life had come to. So that night, he determined himself he would get her back. So he let go of his bad lifestyle and got everything back on track. He apologized to his boss and got his job again. He shared an apartment with 5 other roommates while he joined the gym and started to train. And finally, after months of hard work, it was the day of the championship. Bob, where are you? The match is going to start.
And the winner is Cassius Flame.
He won! Cassius won the match, and it wasn't before long that he earned a lot of fame and recognition. But a month went by, and Christine had no news from him. He didn't even write me a letter, not even a call. But then, it was one evening, they had a visitor. Robert opened the door, surprised to see Cassius. Mr. Robert, is Christine home? Robert smiled as he called his daughter. Christine, it's for you. Who is it, Dad? Christine came to the door and froze, seeing Cassius. Why are you here? I'm sorry. After a month? I wanted to come after the match, but I got so injured, the doctors wouldn't let me go. Yeah, right, Christine said, shutting the door. Come on in. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Mom, Dad, I'm moving to LA to get my master's. Why do you have to move to LA? You can get your master's here in Texas. Your father's an alumni at the university. I actually got a job at the BII Corporation. A job? Why do you need a job? No, Barbara, it's time he makes it out there on his own. I'm proud of you, son. Yes, this is Liam Graham, the only child of Robert and Barbara Graham. He grew up being pampered as well as strictly grounded by his possessive parents. They showered him with love and affection and at the same time made sure to instill the right teachings in him. Dad, can I get a gaming room? Sure, son. If you can earn it, you must learn the value of money. Mom, can I go out with my friends? Who are you going with? Where are you going? When are you coming back? You have to be back by 5 p.m. You think it's a safe place out there? You need to learn the value of safety. Liam grew up maintaining curfews, learning life lessons, and hanging out with a handful of approved friends. He wasn't allowed to go out too much or to what his parents considered negative environments. They created a big deal whenever he mentioned anything closely related to moving out, and Liam even graduated from college whilst living in his parents' home. Dude, are you gonna live with your parents forever? No, man, but you know how they are. Hold up, I got an idea. I can talk to my boss and get you a good offer here in LA. This was Kyle and Felix, Liam's close friends. They had pitched him the idea of moving to LA, with a legitimate reason. And it seemed that it worked. But now that he was in LA and amongst his buddies, it was time to have fun. Dude, when are you gonna get yourself a girlfriend? Girlfriend? Who needs a girlfriend? He needs to get himself laid. Are you planning on being celibate or something? I just haven't found the right one yet. At 24, I don't think you have to find the right one. You just need to find someone. And I know the perfect place. Las Vegas? Las Vegas, baby. We're gonna party hard this weekend. Yep, Liam didn't have a girlfriend. As a matter of fact, Liam had yet to lose it. And to his defense, there was a reason behind it, and it all happened the last day of 8th grade. There was a girl named Julia, Liam's crush. Julia, you look nice. Yeah, thanks, I know. Are you here to give out some papers or something? Why are you even talking to me? No, this isn't a paper. I actually wrote something for you. What? Roses are red, violets are blue, but no flower in this world is as beautiful as you. Julia, I love you. Julia snatched the note from him and burst out laughing. Wait, I got one too. Roses are red, violets are blue. Faces like yours belong in the zoo. Did you really think I would say yes to you, you loser? That day had messed up Liam's confidence real bad. He had stayed away from girls since, and it had been a long 10 years of loneliness. The next weekend, the three friends drove from LA to LV and booked into a hotel. The first night there, they headed off to the casino, where Felix had gotten himself wrapped up in the game, while Kyle was enjoying himself at the bar and Liam was just sitting around watching all the other people. That's when he spotted a girl sitting a few seats down from him. Go ask her out, man. You think she'll say yes? If she says no, you move on to the next. What's the big deal, dude? Go. So Liam gathered up the courage and walked up to her. Hopefully, he wouldn't stutter and make a fool out of himself. No poems this time. Hey, I'm Liam. Hello, I'm Cecilia. Are you waiting for someone? Nope, all by myself. that's surprising. Someone as beautiful as you, all alone. Can I buy you a drink? You don't have to do all this. I'm up for it, but I'll charge. Liam froze for a while. She was so young, probably younger than him. The last thing on his mind was that she would be one of them. Was she serious? So where do you want to go? How about somewhere a little less crowded, like the lakeside? Are you sure you don't want to get a room? There's a hotel nearby. Perhaps later on. So Liam and Cecilia headed out. The lakeside was just a walk away. There were only a handful of people there, so the two were practically alone. Can I ask you something personal? Yeah, sure. Why do you do what you do? Cecilia laughed. To save the world. To save the world? Yeah, just look at our society. These days, majority of men are single because if you get married, you have to be committed, take up all these responsibilities, but then if you happen to get a divorce, you lose half of your money, your property. So more men are choosing to be single, and when you're single, you get frustrated. But that doesn't change the fact that men run the society. Now take a doctor for example. If he's frustrated and he has to go for an operation, he might slip up and the patient might die. Or he happens to diagnose a patient wrong, and he gives him the wrong medication, and the chaos ensues. Or a construction worker messes up on the job, the whole building collapses, bridges break down. So many people can lose their lives. But when I'm there, I can help rid that frustration. We're the most important part of the society. We make sure men can stay mentally sane, put all their focus on their work, and keep the world running. Liam intently listened to Cecilia speak. She was so different. So what do you do? I'm an accountant. I was here on a trip. I live in LA. Cool. I live here, so life is pretty thrilling every day. A few hours went by in which the two walked around the lakeside chatting about this and that. You want to get something to eat? Sure. After getting some tacos from a street vendor, the two sat down by the bank. You realize you're wasting your time, right? When are we gonna get to business? I'm leaving as soon as it's morning. No problem. You're gonna pay for this, right? Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Then what is it? It's not like you've never done it before. Are you scared you'll get some disease? No, I just want to get to know you first. Oh, so that's the case. Girls like us always take precautions. We have to get weekly checkups. I'm absolutely sober and clean. I never said you weren't. Well, I'm just saying. It's far safer than spending the night with a random woman you flirted with at a bar. 'Cause just think about it. We all lose it when we're like 15 or 16, and then it's one boyfriend after the other, then the one night stands, until you get married at 26 or 27. No one is gonna point a finger at them, but they say a whole lot of things about us because we charge. You know, you're really different from all the girls I've ever met. Yeah, and you're very different from all the guys I met. The two spent the whole night talking by the lakeside, until it was almost dawn. Your time's up. I don't normally tell this to my customers, but I had a good time. Here's your payment. Before you go, where can I find you again? You can have my number. After a strange night in Vegas, Liam returned to the hotel room sometime around 5 a.m. Dude, where were you all night? It's like you vanished. Yeah, I was with her. Oh, so did you get lucky? No, she charges. Felix pulled down his blankets and got up. Dude, then it must have been awesome. No, nothing happened. What? You were with her? And you're still a saint? Why would you give up this chance, dude? The rest of the weekend went by in hanging around the city and before the friends returned to LA. But Liam just couldn't get Cecilia off his mind. She was so happy and cheerful. Liam had expected someone in her place to be quite the opposite. He wished he could meet her again. Maybe he could text her. Hey Cecilia, this is Liam. We met a couple nights back. Hi Liam, what's up? Just wondering how you were. Well, if you want to talk, then I shall let you know my time costs money. Alright, how about I pay you $20 an hour to talk to me? What is it about you? You just want to talk? Liam and Cecilia started texting. How old are you? I'm turning 19 this July, but who's keeping track? I've totally given up celebrating my birthday. Why not? What's there to celebrate? It's a special day all about you, because you're special. I don't think so. Before long, it seemed that they were texting all day for the next couple of days. I actually have a confession to make. It would have been my first time if we did it that night. What? How did that happen? Well, my first crush rejected me in 8th grade. It was pretty embarrassing, and then I haven't really gotten with anyone since. Just because of one incident, a 13-year-old stupid comment, you literally put your love life aside. It's not as simple as it sounds, alright. Yeah, sure, it must have been heartbreaking. On the next weekend, Liam was eager to see Cecilia. He drove all the way to LV again. Can we meet? Aren't you in LA? No, I'm here. Is it for business or just as friends? Because I don't really have time for friends right now. I don't plan on doing this forever. I'm gonna save enough money and start my own restaurant, so I have to stay focused. Then I guess it's for business. So the two met up. They spent the whole day around the city. So you traveled all the way here to meet me. I like spending time with you last weekend. You know something? You don't have to pay for today. I feel like I'm ripping you off. The money you gave me for only texting you could have spent 3 nights with me. I guess I enjoy spending time knowing you. Liam started visiting Cecilia every weekend, and before long, they became quite close to each other. It was one weekend that the two were sitting out by the Colorado lake when they heard a knock on their car window. Cecilia felt a little nervous seeing a police officer inside. What's going on here? We were just touring the area. Liam showed the officer his license, but it seemed that he was more interested in speaking to Cecilia. Can you step out of the vehicle, please? Liam watched as the officer started questioning her. What are you doing with him? He's paying you? No, he's just a friend. You know you can be arrested for this. Panicked, Cecilia came back to the car and grabbed her purse and paid the officer almost half of what she made. After the police finally left, she got back into the car and sighed. Sorry about that, things like this happen. Liam only nodded his head without a word. Cecilia started to feel a bit embarrassed. Can you drop me home? The whole ride, Liam didn't speak a word to her. And later that night, Cecilia couldn't help but check her phone every few minutes waiting for his message. But Liam didn't text her. When a few days went by like this, Cecilia started to feel hopeless. Hey Liam, I understand being friends with someone like me isn't easy, and it's okay if you don't want to interact with me again. I won't bother you. But I just wanted to let you know, no one chooses this life for themselves. I'm sorry if I was any trouble to you. When Liam got the message, he felt so frustrated. That day, he didn't like seeing Cecilia so helpless. Why would someone like her have to go through something like that? He wanted to reply to her, but this wasn't how. It was almost 1 a.m. when Cecilia heard her doorbell. Liam, you're here? We need to talk. As Liam stepped inside looking at her, Cecilia knew this night wasn't going to be like all the other nights. Tonight would be different. This wasn't business. This was love. After spending those special moments together, Cecilia and Liam sat there facing each other. There was obviously a lot to talk about, many things unsaid. Liam, I don't know if you feel about me the way I've started to feel about you, but I don't want you to misunderstand me. I never wanted to live this kind of life. I grew up in a very bad household. My mother always mistreated me, and my father was never there for me. There were constant fights, things became physical, life was just miserable. It was only me and my younger sister. If it wasn't for her, I don't know how I would have gone through those years. When I turned 17, I decided to move out. I had no money, I had nowhere to go. I spent nights out on the street until I managed to get a job as a bartender. But I hated working there. I saw so many kinds of people, and it's no surprise the men tried to flirt with me and sometimes even be outright inappropriate. But I still wasn't making much. From that, I sent back money to my sister, and the rest went in paying for the room I was staying in. There were days when I wouldn't even have the money to get home if no one tipped me. I still tried to make do with whatever I had, but I soon found myself unable to pay the rent. I knew if I loaned money, I would just be getting myself into more trouble. I wouldn't be able to pay it off. It was a misery to even return home. Hey beautiful, want to come home with me tonight? I'll give you double what the others are paying you. How much you want? It was one night, I felt so helpless, then I accepted the offer. And when I got the money that night, I realized that was the only way. If I could save enough money, I could finally do something for myself and for my sister. So I've been doing this for about a year now. Liam interrupted Cecilia as she spoke. He got up, shuffling his pocket. What are you doing? It's nothing. It's your birthday today, isn't it? It is? You remembered? Liam took out a small box and stooped down to his knees. Will you marry me? Cecilia stared at the ring in awe. Are you serious? Yes, I will. Okay, come with me. He grabbed Cecilia and ran outside, where Kyle and Felix were standing out in the middle of the road. She said, yes, you guys. Congrats, man. Liam watched in amazement as Kyle and Felix let loose fireworks, and the night sky suddenly became bright and colorful. Have you been planning this the whole time? Yeah. So they've been waiting out here the whole time you were inside? Yeah. You're crazy. The day of Liam and Cecilia's wedding was quite a memorable one. Wow, she invited all her friends? Can I have the number of the blonde one? You can, but I don't think you'll be able to afford her. Come on everyone, let's take a picture. Wow, these bridesmaids are classy. Are you checking them out? Does your mom and dad know what I used to do? Not really. And that is the story of how two very different people found their way to each other. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.